Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. In fact, we're going to have a lot of doses of Dismal Disney, I think, this weekend. Lots of
dropping
news.
Some trailers, and they're not all bad. Like, I mean, Hocus Pocus 2 wasn't terrible. It's kind of like, why? Because you already wrapped it up.
Because merch.
Because, yeah, you got to undo it to redo it. But, I mean, I'm kind of, I'll watch it. And I thought Disenchanted looked really interesting. The Little Mermaid, hey, Halle Berry can sing.
Yeah.
I wish her hair was a lot more red.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's more Disney stuff. The one that kind of fried my circuits, though, was they're doing a Mufasa prequel.
Yeah, why?
I'm like, why? Because the live action... Is
it a live action prequel?
It's a live action prequel.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, let's not do this. Let's not do another Lion King in live action. It's not even live action. It's fakey animal Lion King.
Speaking of bonehead decisions by Disney... so apparently the showrunners for the National Treasure Edge of History show are now saying that if they can get Nicolas Cage back for season 2, they already have an idea of what they're going to do with him. If
there's a season 2.
Yeah, so it came out for this Entertainment Weekly spread they did where it's all about the new actress and the new show, and of course all the characters in the show are not white. And it's all about, how we're gonna look at this from a different point of view, that not everybody's American story is the same, and we'll explain it in a bit. But the idea and what it sounds like to me is they were willing to get everybody back, as anybody they tried to get pretty much everybody back. Except for Nicolas Cage.
And it literally is a vehicle for Nicolas Cage. This whole franchise is a vehicle for Nicolas Cage.
And the fans lost their shit.
It's almost like that. What was that one article you saw today about Tom Cruise? That Top Gun had too much Tom Cruise in it?
Too much Tom Cruise.
Too much Tom Cruise.
He was past his prime, and that we need to stop doing movies about the past as they reboot everything from the 80s and just change everybody in it. But in that one, they didn't. They just made a sequel to something that was popular with the same actors, and it kicked ass.
It made a lot of money. So National Treasure 3 with Nicolas Cage would make a lot of money. There's rumors that this is going to happen. Jerry Bruckheimer's trying to get it to happen. We did a video talking about the damage control because the backlash to the trailer for this Disney Plus series was severe. People are like, oh, hey, look, it's Nicolas Cage because they had the hat, the whole... It's like, no, it's not Nicolas Cage. Mm-hmm. It's some random girl you've never heard of before.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 275,000 subs. Yeah. And also over $50,000 on Crimson Ren. We have about 2 weeks to go yet on Indiegogo. Thank you for the support. Just got some of the last pages in the last couple of days, and they're freaking amazing. The book is going to look really, really good. Mm-hmm. So it is beautifully done.
It is a beautifully done book. You want to back it. I'm going to put a link in the comments. Let's talk about this.
Okay, so they're doing the spread Entertainment Weekly about the new show. Now, to be fair, the new actors, it's not their fault. Like, they just got hired to do a job, so I don't think anybody should be harassing these poor people. And I think that the service and the bad thing that's going to happen is people aren't going to watch it because of Disney's poor decisions. And then, people are going to yell about how people hate diversity and all this shit. And it's just because they're mad Nicolas Cage isn't in it. So inadvertently, it's going to hurt the actors in the new show because Disney... And the thing is, they didn't need to do it this way. They could have still got that whole premise and that whole idea of these new actors and stuff and had Nicolas Cage in it, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, so the fact that they're going to shoehorn him possibly maybe into the second season.
If they can get him.
If they can get him, and if there even is a second season.
Well, that's what they have. They have a plan in place if he comes into the second season. Okay. He's not going to be in the first one for sure. But if they can get him for the second season, they have a plan, a tentative plan. So the showrunner is it Cormac, and is it Mary Ann Mary Ann, was it Wyberly?
Wyberly.
And they were the ones who did the original National Treasure films. So they're basically saying if their plan is that they get Nicolas Cage for the second season, if there's a second season, that he's going to be the Tony Stark to the new characters, Peter Parker. And she's going to be like, oh my God, it's Benjamin Gates. And he's going to be like a mentor. Why didn't you fucking do that for the first season? And then you could have spun her off into whatever you wanted, but at least you're passing the torch. Now that people have lost their shit, and now that you're getting your ass handed to you, and now people are really mad about it, and it's not just white people, by the way. Now you're like, oh, maybe we should put Nicolas Cage in this.
Yeah, so apparently this character is this is going to be commentary on immigration.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. So I mean, maybe like if they could get him for a second season, I don't know.
They're basically like looking. They said, well, you should look at a history from a different angle because apparently his grandfather or something was from Ireland and he went to the UK and he kept learning different histories and which side was good and which side was bad depending on where you're at, which is an interesting premise. I'm not saying that's not. That is an interesting premise that history can be different depending on who you are or how you see it. That's actually not a bad idea. However, it sounds to me like Nicolas Cage being in it was not being in it, I mean, not being included was a mandate on this film.
Yeah, like
or show.
Was he a wife beater or something? Is that why, Nicolas Cage?
We can't have a man in the lead. That's a Disney mandate. Only women and POCs can lead shows.
I hate to be that guy, but it becomes very obvious when you see franchises that are literal, like National Treasure is synonymous with Nicolas Cage. It does not exist without him. Same with Indiana Jones. They're going to try to do an Indiana Jones without Indiana Jones. I guarantee it. Like it's a mantle to be passed on. Thankfully, Paramount was smart enough to make sure that there was a lot of Tom Cruise in Top Gun 2, and it made a lot of money.
Well, the thing is that in both movies, there was a female co-lead who was a historian herself. Yeah. And he was the main character, but she was just as in there and important as he was. So I'm like, this whole idea that it's like, well, it's dumb anyway, because you're acting like it's one or the other when you can totally do both.
The smart thing to do, and we know that Disney and Hollywood in many cases are not smart. The smart thing to do is to introduce a new character in a movie. And if that character
or show,
if that character takes off, then you give that character their own spin-off, right? You don't just create a new character and say, we're going to have this character replace the lead of this franchise and you're going to like this character.
Because she's got tits and she's not white.
She's not white and you better like her. You hate immigrants. You just hate.
You hate your misogynist. You're obviously
you hate
racist.
Brown people. And this is, I am so tired. Like we haven't even talked about the Hobbit situation. I don't have any intention of talking about the Hobbit situation because the Hobbit situation is so fucking stupid that everybody's fighting over the damn, well, you just don't like this poorly reviewed thing because brown Hobbit.
It's She-Hulk. You hate She-Hulk because she's a woman. You hate, you hate the Lord of the Rings of Power, whatever it is, because you hate women and you're racist. You hated the Obi-Wan movie because you didn't like Reva because you're racist. It's always that, never because maybe you didn't like the character or they weren't,
Every fucking show. I mean, I'm going to rant here. Everyone.
Well, now they put out the Little Mermaid trailer, so I'm prepared for all the...
We've already done that.
They've already preemptively, so they're going to ramp it up more. But this show, back to this, which is important, is that according to Marianne Wyberly, who is his wife and co-showrunner, said that they were trying to come up with a show. Now, and they're talking about what he thought of. And this sounds to me like there's a mandate to not have Benjamin Gates in it. One day we were trying to think of a show and Cormac was like, let's do it from the point of view of a person that's trying to get citizenship, and that's why they know American history, which I don't think is a terrible idea in itself. I like the idea of someone who's trying to become a citizen reading an American history book, trying because they love our history. That's when we spun it into the story that was not a Ben Gates story. Now, people who have Ben Gates at the middle of their story, and they've had him at the middle and he's the main character, would not suddenly take him out unless they were told, we want to do another story without Ben Gates.
Yeah. Because this could have been a plot point in a National Treasure 3 or you know what I'm saying?
You could have still had him in it and still done the same thing.
I mean, benefit of the doubt, it could have been like, we want to do a National Treasure Disney Plus show, but we cannot afford Nicolas Cage for a TV project, even though he's doing Willy's Wonderland.
It's Disney. They could effing afford Nicolas Cage for a TV project. They're throwing away all kinds of money on other stuff.
They're just burning money everywhere. I mean, they got, Oscar Isaac for Moon Knight.
This is going to bite them in the ass. It's already been biting them in the ass. So I think Disney mandated we have a spin-off show with a strong female POC character. We don't want Benjamin Gates in it. And it should have been, what you could have done both. You could have had Benjamin Gates in it, working with her. And then, it still was, she goes off and does her own stuff into season 2, and people would have been fine with it.
Yeah, but the way that they do it, and it's always like, here we're going to just, completely turn this franchise upside down. And if you hate bigot, you're a bigot, a racist. It's getting old. And actually, Disney seems to be the only holdover. Like a lot of other studios, Netflix included, are kind of like, yeah, hey, that didn't do so good. Maybe we should cancel some of this shit. Maybe we should stop attacking people. You know, but Disney, it seems to literally be part of their marketing. Pissing people off seems to be literally part of their marketing.
There was a meme that was out there I saw the other day, and it was about Netflix, but I think it more applies to Disney. And it was like, you love the book, and the book's called White Dog. And then they said, and the gaming adaptation, and there's a picture of a white dog. And then it said Netflix adaptation, and it had a black cat. That's what this is all like. And it's like, look, you can do both. Why not both? You can have both. And the thing is, it would work better, and you can still keep the fans you have. And then the same with Star Wars. Had you put all three, Han, Luke, and Leia together, like people wanted, had you made the new cast an ensemble cast and let Finn be the character you made it out like he was going to be, and you put them together and basically work together to pass on the, you know, do this, whatever their thing they had to do and pass it on, people would have probably been a lot more okay with it. But you didn't. And that's the same thing here. And it has bit them in the ass massively.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, yes.
There's
a right way to. I mean, Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai, which season 5 I think comes out.
Even
this
the
weekend.
new He-Man CGI show it's different. But it's done in a way that still feels like He-Man.
The CGI He-Man show. Yeah, there's some gender swap and race swap and going on, but it's also a complete reboot. And they never sideline Adam to let the other characters steal the spotlight because the show's about He-Man. It's still fundamentally about He-Man.
Right. So I'm like, I get the idea and the vibe because they talked to these showrunners before and they said they wanted Nicolas Cage. I have a feeling they were told to do a show without Nicolas Cage, basically. And then they talk about how they tried to get Jon Voight back and they tried to get...
he's problematic now because of his politics.
Well, they tried to get him back.
You can't get him.
And they tried to get Diane Kruger back, and they said that they were going to get them back, but something came up and then they didn't. So they literally they got the other guy back. So they literally got everybody. They tried to get everybody in the movie back except for Nicolas Cage. And it's like the one person they wouldn't bring back. And it's like, that was the dumbest thing ever. And now people are pissed. And now the people in the new show are probably going to get harassed, not going to give a fair shake. And it might be a really good show. And it might be a really good perspective because I think it's actually an interesting way of looking at it.
It is an interesting perspective. I'm going to be honest.
And they could have totally won everything. And all it would have taken was the one actor people associate with National Treasure. And that's the one person they seem to have done everything in their power not to get into the show.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'll be honest. I am surprised they're moving forward with this at all because National Treasure is a very patriotic movie franchise. So now I'm like...
all the horrible Americans.
Yes, her different perspective is going to be she's got this amazing perspective of America, and then she starts to look into our history, and then she realizes it's problematic, and then she just skips over America and moves to Canada.
No, I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, so this is going to get more and more interesting. If you want to see more about the other show, go to the EW article. There's a lot of things in there that you might find very... interesting in quotes. There's definitely a bent to it all. Shocker.
Bent carrot.
Yeah. No carrots are allowed. Unless they're not white carrots.
It's just a look. I just assume anymore that any franchise you loved, any franchise older than 5 years, 2 years, okay, if it's considered problematic by current year Hollywood.
Or they feel like they have to redo it to make it for a modern audience.
For this modern audience that seems to reject this shit anyway. I mean, for all this talk, let's reboot this and let's reboot that and modern audience, blah, blah, blah. Then 9 times out of 10, it fails anyway. You know, just assume that every movie you've ever loved is going to get bastardized in some form if it comes back, and you'll not be disappointed. That's why I'm pleasantly surprised when they bring a show back like Cobra Kai and they don't fuck it up. Because it's shocking that they actually didn't. But that's Sony and not Disney. So
anyway, there you go.
There you go, guys. It's going to be a dumpster fire. I don't think there's going to...
If they get Nicolas Cage back for season 2.
Season 2. He might come back. He might maybe possibly come back. Is that what they're trying
to do to get people to want a season 2? Because otherwise it's not going to get a season 2?
Oh, guys, go to change.org. We need a season 2 so we can get 20 seconds of Nick Cage. affirming this new character and telling her how wonderful and smart she is.
So that we all accept her.
Smarter and better than he ever could have been.
They could have won the whole thing and put them both in. They're both pretty. They could have won, but they're so fucking stupid. Anyway,
let's wrap it up.
I almost said I love you guys, but I do love you guys. But anyway, we'll talk later. I want to say, like, they tell the kids at night, love you, night. I'm tired. And I almost said, love you guys. Good night.
Clownfish TV loves you all. Even the assholes. We love everybody. They all love us, especially the assholes, but we love you all. So good night.
Night.